We've been renovating the kitchen in our fixer-upper and doing all the work ourselves. This has been a huge DIY undertaking with lots of challenges, but through each phase of this project, we've learned so much about home renovation, from demolition to plumbing to woodworking, and rolling with all the DIY surprises left by the previous homeowners. There's like literally hay and grass under the floor that they had in here. But this week, we start to see the light at the end of the tunnel as our kitchen slowly transforms into a functional space again. So sit back, relax, and watch us do the heavy lifting on this extreme kitchen makeover. So we have started pulling up the floor on the other part of the kitchen. We're going to be laying some of our flooring, hopefully this weekend, in the kitchen now that I have all the cabinets installed. Once again, we've got lots of sticky, but look at what these people did. There's like literally hay and grass under the floor that they had in here. That's disappointing. So we're gonna try to do Gold Bond and kind of scrape up some of this stuff before we do primer and lay the new floor. I've mentioned it before, but we are using Gold Bond powder to de-stick the floors. They had some vinyl peel and stick floor tile in here that left the subfloor very sticky, so I just brush it in really well and then vacuum it up before painting the floors with primer. And this is how we're preparing the floors for our luxury vinyl plank flooring that we're laying. This is going to make sure that the floor isn't sticky underneath because this floor needs to float. It needs to be able to expand and contract, and you don't want it to be sticking to the floor. And we're doing the flooring in sections as we can get to it. So as we move through the house, especially now that we're living here, we are just kind of tackling each space as we can. We also had some areas where there was some unevenness transitioning between different spaces in the house where they had done additions. So we used this product called Feather Finish to help level out the floor so that we could move across the transition from the living room to the kitchen. With the flooring installed, we could start thinking about getting our appliances back into this space. So I branched power off of the power for the dishwasher and installed an outlet under the sink that the plug for the garbage disposal switch will plug into. And I'm going to be installing that garbage disposal switch in the front of the cabinet temporarily. I'm probably going to eventually put this in the countertop, but I'm waiting until we get our countertops installed. So this was really easy to install. This is just one of those air button switches for garbage disposal, and it just plugs in under the sink. I also drilled another hole in the side of this cabinet for the waste hose and the water line from the dishwasher to be connected to the plumbing under the sink. And then black to black, you know.
Let's do green. Let's do green to black. That feels good. That's what I do.
You're an electrical hobbyist.
These are the nasty ones, huh?
I don't know, that probably wouldn't kill you. I just hurt. I have permanent nerve damage. Okay.
Do we want to turn the power on and test first?
Alright, get your hands out of there.
I'll hold on to everything. I'll let you know.
So if I hear a scream, I know it's working. Oh god, I'm so sore. Okay, I'll be right back. Come on.
It's on.
Huh?
She fired up.
It's on? Nice. The next day I worked on cutting some shelves for our upper cabinets. We were pretty much just desperate to get some things in these cabinets because our stuff is just everywhere in the kitchen right now, and we really needed to start getting things more organized so that we could clear out the dining room area and finish laying the floor. Once I had all of the cabinets cut and sanded down really well, I put edge banding on the front edge of each cabinet. I didn't do all four sides because they're not going to be showing anyway, but you just apply the edge banding with a hot iron, rub it down really good. I'm using just a scrap piece of wood, and then trim away the excess that hangs over the edge. They do make tools for this. I couldn't find it at the hardware store. I had to order it online, so I just used an X-Acto blade. And then I sanded that down really well to make it look nice and seamless. After getting the shelves edge banded and sanded, I just dusted them off really well and applied 2 coats of polyurethane sanding in between coats to get it really nice and buttery smooth so that these would be really easy to wipe and clean. For me, this is when the kitchen really started to feel more like a kitchen. Just seeing the shelves in there and knowing that these cabinets were functional and that we could actually put things in them or start to was really a morale booster. All right, it has been a few days since I last worked in the kitchen. Today's Friday. It is so humid today and I don't want to be out in it. I don't want to do it, so I'm not gonna. But I thought what else I could do is kind of clean up our temporary kitchen area or just our dining room area. So in addition to being our temporary kitchen, it's also been kind of a dumping ground for random construction things and tools. And especially with it being so humid outside, it just feels kind of stagnant in here. So I think that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm just gonna focus on getting this area cleaned up so that when Alan gets back into town, he's out of town right now. When he gets back into town, we can kind of hit the ground running on getting the rest of the flooring installed, and that will be all the flooring that we have left for the main level. So I think we probably have about 150 square feet left here of area that needs to be floored. And then tomorrow our appliances should be arriving. We ordered a new fridge and a new range. So I kind of just want to get things tidied up in here, kind of get things a little bit more organized so that when they come in, they can just take the old out, bring in the new, and then I can kind of start prepping the dining room space for flooring and paint and all of that good stuff. So I don't know when I'll actually get to that, but it'll be nice to just have this space kind of cleared out. Are you hungry? You've been tapping around a lot. Oh, you never let me forget a meal, do ya? You never let me forget, do ya? You're a good boy. Okay. All right. All right. Make this my temporary like pantry cabinet. Eventually I am going to be building something a little bit more permanent over here kind of between the kitchen and the dining area, but for now I just need a place to put the stuff that I'm reaching for the most. So I'm going to kind of clean out this side and make this the pantry side. Folks, I'm showing you all my secrets. So this is our guest bedroom right now, and it's been sort of an overflow space for all the things that we don't know where to put yet. So this is where I'm going to put some of this stuff. And for those of you wondering, this is the current state of my sewing room. It's a disaster. This room is a little bit smaller than my last sewing room, so that's one challenge that I'm going to be working through. But I just don't know where to put all this stuff. And currently our basement, we're not using our basement for any kind of storage because it needs a lot of work. So we do have that challenge that we're working through. But yeah, eventually I'm going to do kind of a minimal bare necessities sewing room in this room and kind of keep it really simple in here until I get a more permanent sewing space set up. It's just a moth. I was up early this day to prepare for our appliances being delivered. We got a new range and a new refrigerator, so I spent some time setting those up. Oh, an Allen wrench. A big Allen wrench. There we go. There we go. Okay. Nice. Whew. I'm out of breath. I just carried some plywood by myself, but I did create a little jig. Let me show you what I made real quick. So I made this little jig for carrying a sheet of plywood, and I actually got this idea from another YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description below. I can't even remember the name of it, but I'll put it on the screen here. But I also got that idea for that sawhorse grid table from the same YouTube channel, but it actually works pretty well. I mean, plywood's still heavy as hell, but I was able to carry it by myself because Alan's not here right now. He's not going to be here till later in the day, and I kind of want to go ahead and get started on some stuff. That was a workout. It was a workout though. So the project that I want to start on today is building the drawer boxes for the base cabinets. Building the drawer boxes I think is going to be kind of similar to when I was building the upper cabinets, and then I'm going to try to dado a groove in all four sides to slip a piece of plywood, like 1/4 inch plywood in there for the bottom of the drawer. Then those will get attached to the drawer slides that are attached to the inside of the cabinets, and then I'll eventually attach a drawer front on those that looks a little bit nicer and fits perfectly inside of my face frame cabinets. A lot of the information that I found on building cabinets, custom kitchen cabinets, came from the YouTube channel Shara Woodshop Diaries. She has an amazing channel where she shares all sorts of woodworking projects, and I have referred to her channel so many times when I've been building these cabinets. I would say that my inspiration for actually building my own kitchen cabinets came from Exo McKenna's channel. I was just really impressed that she built her own cabinets, and so that's kind of when I was like, hey, maybe I could do that one day. And then the Shara Woodshop Diaries channel has just been an invaluable resource for learning about, you know, sizing and assembly, and I also love that she's a woman doing these really big woodworking projects. So shout out to Shara for providing so many great resources on this whole process. I mentioned at the start of this project that, you know, custom kitchen cabinets are just so expensive and you can save yourself so much money by doing them yourselves. And that's true. That is definitely true. We probably saved ourselves at least 10 grand or more on doing this ourselves. But I feel like it's just taken me so long. Like if I was only doing the kitchen cabinets and could devote myself 100% to that project, I probably could finish this in a week or two, maybe. It could be a little ambitious. There's so many other things in this house that we're working on at the same time, but at the same time, that's just life. It's hard to really devote yourself 100% to one thing all the time. So it is taking me a long time to get these cabinets done, but they're coming together really nicely and I'm able to work on them at my own pace. And I feel like I have total control over the design, which is really nice too. I feel like we're getting close to the home stretch on these cabinets, and I'll be so glad when I can start painting them. Actually, I could probably start painting the base like boxes, but I'm gonna wait a little bit longer for that. So anyway, drawer boxes. Alan got himself a tool belt. He ain't here, so I'm gonna use it. I don't even know the right way to put this on, but so for the pieces that I'm cutting, I have created cut lists for everything. Every part of this cabinet build, I've been creating cut lists that tell me exactly how many pieces I'm getting out of a piece of plywood. Using Adobe Illustrator, I just drew out the size of a piece of plywood, and I'm marking out, you know, how many pieces I can get out of each piece and trying to get the most efficient use of the plywood. Between cuts, I'm coming in here, referring to my cut list or cut diagram, and then going back out and continuing. It just kind of helps keep me organized and gives me a little bit more confidence moving through all these cuts. The only thing is it'd be better if I could just print this out and have it on hand, but my printer is in my sewing room. It's probably buried. Yeah, I need to get my printer hooked up. So before I cut these down to the drawer dimensions, I'm actually going to cut dados in all of these pieces. That'll just kind of save me a little bit of time if I'm cutting the bigger pieces before I chop them down to size. This is going to go the same way that I did for the upper cabinets. I'm just going to use my circular saw with this little Craig guide here and cut the dados, just cut several grooves in each panel to get a 1/4 inch dado that's 1/4 inch wide, 1/4 inch deep for all of these pieces. And I'm also gonna offset the dado about 3/4 inch from the bottom of the drawer. And then that'll be what I slide my 1/4 inch plywood into for the bottom of the drawer. Yesterday, I got all of the grooves, all the dados cut in the boards, and that actually took me a little longer than I was anticipating. And it was actually a step that I had kind of forgotten that I had to do. So I didn't get quite as much done yesterday as I wanted to, but I did get all of these dadoed. So it looks like it's gonna be another beautiful day today. It's really cool out this morning. It feels like fall, and I'm excited to work outside. It feels like such a luxury to be able to work outside on a beautiful day like this. So this morning I'm going to start by cutting these long strips down to size for each of the drawer boxes and start assembling those. But first, I think I'm just gonna assemble one drawer box and install it just to kind of get a feel for the process and make sure that my measurements are correct before I cut all these pieces down to size. I think they're correct, but it's one of those things, because of the way the drawer slides are installed, I'm kind of second guessing some of my measurements, so we're gonna see how it goes. So I'm gonna be using these drawer slides. They're like a soft close drawer slide. This was what was recommended on the Shara Woodshop Diaries channel. So I just went on Amazon and bought a bunch of these, and I'll put a link to these down in the description below as well. These are 22-inch drawer slides because my cabinets are approximately 22 inches deep. So these will get installed on the side of the cabinet. Because I have face frames, I'm gonna have to add a little bit of blocking to bring the edge of the drawer slide flush with the opening of the face frame. I'm gonna use some 1x2s to do that. And ideally, it would be nice if I could install these before I installed the bases in the kitchen. But because I really wanted to get a move on getting our countertops measured, I wanted to go ahead and get these installed, and I wasn't sure when I was gonna be able to get to the drawer boxes. So that's why I'm doing it like this. So I'm gonna work on installing these, then I'll install the box. I'm installing the blocking so that the bottom of the blocking aligns with the top of the rail. And I'm using wood screws here, and immediately, first screw, I stripped it.
What's going on?
I think I just stripped the screw because I couldn't get good leverage on it. And I'm learning that this happens frequently with these wood screws. They're just garbage. They strip so easily. But I was able to grab the screw head with some pliers and twist it out. Oh, baby, I think we're doing it here. I think it's coming out. Slowly but surely. Yes. And I stripped this thing good. I mean, it was perfectly circular, no grip, but I'm not a quitter, and I got this thing out. I was pretty proud of myself, honestly. I decided to help Alan prep the floor until I could get to the store for some different screws. All right, it's been a few hours. We went to the store. I got some construction screws. These have a torque head, I think is what it's called, but it's basically a little star-shaped head. Huxley, relax. Oh my gosh. Oh, Huxley had a little bit of separation anxiety. These just are so much easier to drive in. They don't strip nearly as, I don't think I've ever stripped one of these before. So I got some that are 1.25 inches. That was the same as the wood screws that I was using. I think this will be less of a headache. I don't have anything for you. My goodness. Here we go. When you pull out the slides, there's a little trigger here on the side that releases the piece that attaches to the drawer from the slide. And this just makes it a little easier to screw in the slides. I am using wood screws again to install the slides, but these are much shorter and easier to drive in without stripping. That one in. This level's magnetic. Ah, perfect. And to put the piece back on, this is the piece that will attach to the drawer, but to put it back on, you want this little flat piece in the front here, the little open part in the back, and you want the little black trigger thing to be facing this. And you just slide it in there, and it's in. Just like that. And do the same thing for the other side. All right, it's probably a little loud. My husband's mowing the lawn right now. Do I look tired? I feel really tired right now. Oh my gosh, it's so loud. Here he goes. So my memory card ran out of space while I was screwing in that drawer to do a little demo. While I was transferring my files off my camera onto my computer, I couldn't help myself. I went ahead and just installed the drawer just to see how things were going. But the first thing that happened was my drawer was just very, very slightly too wide, and so it was too tight in the slides. And the recommendation that I had heard was to size them an inch smaller than the opening where the slides are attached. Mine were, I mean, like literally 3 hairs too big. So I did have to trim down the width of the drawer by like just a little bit. He would be mowing the lawn right by the window when I'm trying to film. Like he's been all the way out in the yard all day. Today's one of those days where things are just not going to plan. So I trimmed the width of the drawer just barely so that it was actually at least an inch. He's just like right here by the window, just circling around and around and around. Am I too tired to actually cut the rest of these boxes today and not make a bunch of mistakes? We've had a long day. We got started early and we went to the store. We went to like 3 stores today. Oh man. Maybe I'll have a, nice cold beverage. I spent the next day working on getting the rest of the drawer slides installed. I had done a lot of prep work the previous day, but it still took me most of the day. Alan also helped me cut and prep a lot of the pieces for the drawer boxes, and since I had planned out all of my cuts and had a list of everything that needed to be cut, it was really easy to hand that off to him. And this went so much faster with his help. I know that's kind of like common sense that it would go faster with 2 people, but it was just really nice to have help on this. Today is my birthday. I just turned 41 years old and my husband got me a tool belt for my birthday. So I dropped some not so subtle hints that I would like a tool belt. But anyway, so now I have my own tool belt. And today I'm going to work on cutting the plywood, like 1/4-inch plywood bottoms for the drawers that I've already got cut out. And we got so much done yesterday with Alan's help, so that was really nice to have him helping me with that part. It really went by fast, but it was toward the end of the day. We were getting tired, and whenever we get close to the end of the day and I'm feeling tired, the last thing I want to do is start cutting things that require precise measurements, because I know myself and I'll make mistakes and I'll just get frustrated. And after we got all those pieces cut yesterday, I decided to just kind of sleep on it because I still had to cut the pieces for the base, for the bottom of the drawers. So that's what I'm gonna do. All I had to do to install the drawer boxes was screw in the other piece of the drawer slides and click them right into place. And these are not finished. I still have to add the drawer fronts on these, but you can kind of start to see the cabinets coming together here. That's my first batch of drawers. They're all in. I've just got to get another sheet of plywood out of the pole barn to cut the rest of these drawers. This drawer is going to be a little bit of a special case because I've got the range plugged in back there, so it's going to be a little bit shorter of a drawer, and it's going to be mounted a little bit differently. Then over here is going to be some like sheet pan storage, so vertical storage. I'm kind of still thinking about how I want to design that one. These two will be pretty standard drawers, similar to these, just wider. And then this one over here is going to be a trash can drawer. And it's extra big, so I'll probably also store like trash bags and stuff like that in there. But that's going to be a little bit different situation as well. The drawer fronts for the trash can drawer and the sheet pan storage drawer are going to be taller, so I don't really need to make the whole drawer that deep, but I do want the front of the drawer to come up higher so that it's more stable when you pull the front. When you pull the drawer front, it doesn't kind of get floppy in the front. So I'm just drafting a curve here to make the front a little taller than the back of the drawer and cutting that out with my jigsaw. I'll use that first cut as a template to trace out the other drawers, so I'll have 4 total sides. I also want to make sure that I am mirroring these because I want that dado in the bottom of the drawer to be on the interior on both sides. And then once I had all of the pieces cut, I just clamped them together and sanded down the edges to make them as identical as possible. And here's how they look when they are all assembled. These are actually my favorite drawers out of all the ones I've made. They just look so intentional, and the curve on the sides turned out really nice. I'm really happy with the proportions of that.